April 5th, 2018. Missing U.S. government scientist has been found dead last night. Timothy Cunningham has been missing since February, and there's been some wide speculation across the internet about exactly what has happened to Timothy Cunningham. Now, he was found near the Chattahoochee River on Tuesday. This is of an apparent drowning that he had died from, although they're still going through a full autopsy. It's yet to be completed. As one article just posted about an hour ago from the BBC, they say Timothy Cunningham left work at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta on the 12th of February, saying he was feeling unwell. This is the last time that he was seen. The 35-year-old's body since been discovered in the Chattahoochee River on Tuesday night, said the Atlanta Police Department. Now, there's some conflicting information. It's also further adding to some of this speculation, some of the questions people have about this death. We're hearing some different stories from the Atlanta Police Department, from Cunningham's work, and there's also been, I guess, in the alternative media, there are a few websites that I've been critical of, Your Newswire being one of them, where they will take, they have a habit of taking news stories that there are legitimate questions about or holes in the official story, but then they add completely fake material or disinformation into a lot of these stories. Your Newswire, I think, is one of the worst culprits of this, and it ends up muddying the waters, and then the official sources, I guess the mainstream media, call any questions about the story fake news, and that's because some of these particular outlets are, I think, muddying the waters with disinformation on purpose. You're seeing that in this case as well. Cunningham was working on Ebola and Zika outbreaks. This is according to official reports. Your Newswire released a report in regards to this case on February 22nd. They released a article titled "CDC Doctor Disastrous Flu Shot is Causing Deadly Flu Outbreak," and they implied that Cunningham was warning people of this. The flu shot was responsible for this outbreak that was happening. He was saying they originally attributed this to an unnamed source, and then in the follow-up article, they claimed that it was Dr. Timothy Cunningham, who had, at that time, this is the second article that they wrote about it, Cunningham had then gone missing. They changed the quote, attributed it to him, and tried to imply that it was a result of this, that he had gone missing. That is disinformation. He was not working on that sort of outbreak at the time. He'd never actually worked with any sort of patients. He has a doctorate in science, not even in medicine. So it's a completely different part of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention that he would have been working for, than was being claimed by Your Newswire. Some mainstream media sources have picked this up and used that as an excuse to say that any speculation that contradicts the official story is fake news based off this one article. I'm not sure whether that was intentional disinformation or not, but that's the result. That's what's happened. So he was working on Ebola and Zika outbreaks. His body was found late Tuesday by fishermen. One other detail that they add in, a newer detail, I guess he was known to collect rocks, was found with crystals in his pocket. He was wearing running shoes as well. Again, found in the river. They say that the death has been classified as a drowning, still yet to go through a full autopsy. They also add that Mr. Cunningham, who was an epidemiologist in the CDC's chronic disease department, lived with his dog. They say that the pet, along with Mr. Cunningham's keys, wallet, phone identification, credit cards, and passport, were all found by investigators safely locked in his Atlanta home. Some people have pointed that as possibly an odd detail. He seemed like he was a fairly successful, happy individual. Some family members said that he was acting a bit erratically recently, but I guess, for him to leave his pet at the home, if this was a suicide, as I'm thinking that's how they will rule it. Some people thought of that as an odd detail. I'm not sure what you might make of that personally. Finally, they do say that police initially said that on the day that Mr. Cunningham was last seen alive, he had expressed disappointment to his supervisor about missing a promotion. This is another detail that there's been contradictions in between the mainstream sources, actually, even without going into any of what the alternative media is saying. You have contradicting statements from the police department, who said that he was disappointed about missing a promotion. They said that they got this information from the CDC, but the CDC said last month that that information was incorrect. The acting director said that Mr. Cunningham had actually received an early promotion to commander in July last year in recognition of exemplary performance. So he was not expecting a promotion, and in fact, he'd received an early promotion recently, is what the Center for Disease Control was saying. They give a couple more quotes, just further going into exactly what the police department initially said and how these stories kind of contradict themselves. So Atlanta Police Major Michael O'Connor had said during a news conference last month that Cunningham didn't receive a promotion to branch manager and met with his supervisor on the day he went missing to discuss why he didn't get the promotion. Cunningham left work early that day saying he wasn't feeling well, the police said. Cunningham's next door neighbor. This is another odd detail. Reportedly, the next door neighbor, Tori, his last name, they told CBS News correspondent, one of the correspondents, that Cunningham said something odd to her husband that day. Cunningham had told Tori's husband, this is the quote that they gave, they say, he told my husband to tell his wife, me, to erase his cell phone number from my cell phone. He told this person's husband to tell his wife to delete his number from their cell phone. So the day that he went missing, he was worried about something going on at work, it seems. The police are saying that it was a promotion, and the company's saying it has nothing to do with a promotion, and the police department's actually responded again since then, doubling down, saying, well, this is the response. They say on Monday, Atlanta Police Sergeant John Chaffee told CBS News that the department stood by every statement it's given about Cunningham's employment. Another quote reads, our information came directly from the CDC. And this is after the CDC had said what the police department was saying about the promotion was false. Police department responding again, saying, no, the information's correct. It was about that. They're not letting up on that detail of the story. So it's just an odd contradiction, but it is clear that Cunningham was disturbed about something at work at that time. And that was the last time that he had been seen. It's odd that there's that conflicting information there. And of course, that intentional, it seems to me, the intentional disinformation from your newswire, it's kind of a habit of theirs. Again, I'm not really a big fan of their reporting, but there was another event that happened a few months ago. Klaus Eberwein, some people may remember the death of Klaus Eberwein. He was a doctor working in Haiti, and there were some other rumors surrounding his death. Some legitimate questions, I think, still unanswered about the death of Klaus Eberwein, but your newswire again did another story where they made up a completely fake quote and attributed it to Eberwein, it apparently in reference to the Clinton Foundation, basically a quote that came from another Haitian activist. It was a real quote that came from another Haitian activist that they reattributed to a completely different person, Eberwein, who had recently died, who was a doctor that worked in Haiti. And they used this quote to try to link this to the Clinton Foundation and corruption. Again, at the same time, I think there were some real questions about Eberwein's death. So I'm wondering if this was just completely for clicks. I'm not so sure. I did a video on it myself, and it got, people were interested in it, but I didn't have to resort to making up fake quotes. There actually is a Clinton connection through Michel Martelly, is the politician in Haiti, had been elected after the earthquake. He was backed by Clinton heavily backed by Hillary Clinton. He's been accused of fraud, and Eberwein was also involved in that case as well. This is I think underrated video. I'll add this link in the description, but you can just search Klaus Eberwein disinfo versus real info. They briefly mentioned the video that I did at American Folk Medicine, this other channel, and go into some further detail about, again, what seems like, I'd have to imagine this is intentional disinformation. They're making up a quote out of nowhere. And why is this? Is this just for clicks, or is it on purpose that they're targeting stories that there are legitimate questions about? There's holes in the official story, and they are putting in this intentional disinformation so the mainstream media can use that as an excuse to just disregard any sort of questions about the story. That's what I think ended up happening with Klaus Eberwein. Unfortunately, similar results with what we're seeing here with Timothy Cunningham. We will get more information, I'm sure, about the exact cause of death, or what the officials are going to claim that it is. I'll follow up as info comes out. Let me know what you think. If you could leave a like on this video, it's greatly appreciated, and subscribe to the channel. One other reminder, I'm over on Patreon still. I have a link in the description, patreon.com/realityreader. Thank you everybody that has donated there. Even $1 or $2 just gives me some extra time and resources to put back on the channel, keep reporting on this. Thanks again. I'll check back shortly.